Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for leaving in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner because of pumpkin pie? My 32F mother, 60F, hosts Thanksgiving dinner at her house every year. It's a small event with my parents, me, my brother's family and my Asael's family attending. We avoid family quarrels by implementing a strict no politics rule and trying our best to be civil. I should probably mention that we are not a particularly close-knit family. We rarely see each other beyond these events since my brother lives in South Africa and I travel a lot due to my work. Thanksgiving is important to my mom since it's one of the rare times we're all together. Anyway, the main problem I have with my mother is her constant critique of me. She has a habit of making passive-aggressive comments about my life choices, from my career to my lack of children to the way I dress. I've addressed this with her multiple times, but she doesn't really seem aware of it. My father claims it is just her way of fussing and expressing that she cares. It does hurt though, because my brother is never criticized in the same manner. I cannot entirely fault her for her criticism, since I did majorly mess up my life a few months ago, depression, and it has affected her opinion of me negatively. It does not excuse the way I acted, but I just wanted to explain why I left. By the time we finished dinner, I was a bit prickly because of some of her commentary. I made a cake for dessert. I was explicitly put in charge of it and no one specified what exactly I should make, so I opted for maple cheesecake. I did my best and I think it looked okay. Mom normally makes pumpkin pie, but I really hate pumpkins, they make me gag, so I thought perhaps we could try something new. As I was bringing out the cheesecake, my mom eyed it somewhat warily and announced that she'd decided to make the usual pie as well. This caught me off guard. I asked why she didn't tell me beforehand, and she said something like, "Well, we figured you'd do your own thing, so I thought it was best to have a backup." She went on to cut the pie and serve it to everyone, instructing me to leave the cheesecake in the kitchen. When someone asked to try my dessert, she said, "Let's not mix too many flavors at once," which just felt passive-aggressive. I know it's immature for an adult to get this upset over a triviality, but I just, politely, refused as she was handing me a slice of pie, retrieved my coat and left. People were calling after me I think, but by that point I was crying for some reason and it would have been too humiliating to have an emotional outburst in front of everyone for no real reason. My mom just texted me saying that it was incredibly rude and immature of me to leave like that, especially on Thanksgiving. My brother also sent me a message saying I'm acting irrationally. I feel horrible for leaving so abruptly, especially because my parents are getting older and we are already not close. Something about my mother seems to turn me into a neurotic teenager and I hate it. Top comments. Not the a-hole if your mother's way of fussing and expressing that she cares, looks, sounds, and feels like she's being a deliberately nasty person, then I'm guessing she is really just being a deliberately nasty person. Walks like a duck and all that. I'd tell your father this. Your mother premeditated the whole dessert thing right down to the kick in the teeth of excluding the dessert you made from the table. She got off on being cruel in this petty way for whatever warped reason. This kind of thing is no accident and not care in any way. Golden boy brother can't see it because he is never the target. Dad is trying to see it through the best possible lens. Your mother won't admit to herself what she is really doing even as she deliberately does it. Their blindness doesn't mean she isn't doing it. Not the a-hole. Your mom is the worst, like seriously the worst. God forbid anyone eat and then compliment your cheesecake. You were not crying for some reason, you were crying for valid reasons. You were not behaving irrationally, you were reacting with perfect rationality given your circumstances. Maybe take off the rest of the holidays and give yourself some grace. Or spend them with a friend or family member that doesn't treat you like an inconvenience. From one black sheep to another, you deserve way better. Couple things here. You didn't mess up your life. Depression did. Don't blame yourself for things out of your control. If your mother's opinion of you is affected negatively by depression, instead of her trying to help you through it, then your mom sucks. Telling you that you are in charge of dessert, then having a backup dessert is cruel. If she wanted pie, she should have said, "Please bring pie," or "Please bring a dessert, I will also have pie." She set you up to fail and then acted like a child by hiding your dessert and not even letting people try it. Strike 2 against your mom. Texting and telling you that you were rude and not even acknowledging her behavior is so narcissistic. If this was your best friend telling you that it was her mom doing this to her, what would your advice be? Mine would be to write a letter to your mother with details and dates to back it up. Let her know you need space and sign it. I hope you can reflect. Signed, your daughter. Please take care of your mental health, because your mother doesn't have your best interest at heart. Not the a-hole, you're not close for good reason. Your mom can't even be nice and civil for one evening. Next year, decline the invite. We usually have several kinds of dessert for our holiday meals. Maple and pumpkin go great together. I've had key lime pie and chocolate silk pie at the same time without any issue. Your mother was just being unkind on purpose to undermine you. You did the right thing by leaving when you felt like you could take no more. You don't need to reply to those texts. They didn't ask a question to reply to. They didn't offer an apology to accept or decline. So what would you need to reply to? Ignore it and go on with your best life. You deserve peace and kindness at the holidays as much as anyone. Your family isn't bringing that. So have Thanksgiving with a friend next year. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law if she keeps rearranging my kitchen she can get a hotel room? I, 29F, am married to a wonderful man, 30M, who is also the brother of my best friend. Our heights are very different, with me being 6 feet 6 inches and him being 5 feet 7 inches. All of his family are on the short side, and it led to some adjustments in our living arrangements at first, but we found what worked for us. We realized early on that it was easier for him to use a step stool to reach what he needed in the kitchen than for me to constantly be crouching to get what I need, as that gets painful quickly for me. This was fine, until my mother-in-law came to stay with us 2 weeks ago. Her roof needs repairs, my husband and I have a spare room while my best friend doesn't, so it was only logical she come stay with us. She has constantly been moving things about in the kitchen, lowering items as she doesn't want to use the step stool, which isn't anything to do with her age or fearing she'll fall, she just doesn't want to. She keeps harping on about how it's ridiculous everything is so high up and it's rude for guests. My husband has repeatedly shut her down, stating my comfort matters more than theoretical guests, and asked her not to move things. She lets it go for a day, then things are moved again. I've expressed frustration to my husband about this, and the final straw came today when I went to make myself a coffee and could not find my coffee mugs anywhere. It took me 5 minutes to find them in my kitchen, and I found them in the lower cabinet that I had to kneel to get them out of. I was angry and snappish at this as my back had hurt from getting my mug, and I told her if she couldn't stop herself from rearranging my kitchen she could get a hotel room, as I have had enough of her entitlement. This led to a lot of blustering and some tears that she was just trying to make it make more sense, and how this is her son's home and how it's just a little reorganization and that they shouldn't all suffer just because I'm tall. She then also began to say how I'm heartless to expect her to stay in a hotel over the holidays. My husband was clearly uncomfortable at this and didn't want his mother upset, but he told her that it wasn't just his home, but mine too, and if she wouldn't respect my comfort and happiness then she would have to leave. She has went into the guest room and I can hear her crying still. My husband is clearly getting anxious and upset over this, but he's not backing down, and I feel awful that my snapping led to him feeling like this. Maybe I should have just put up with it or been more gentle about how I dealt with it. I honestly don't care that she's upset, which may make me sound heartless, but I hate that my husband is feeling this way. Top comments. Not the a-hole, you stood up for yourself and gave a fair warning. I believe you've been quite patient. I appreciate that your husband is uncomfortable, but so be it, sometimes life is uncomfortable. She had plenty of opportunities to stop complaining and to stop moving things around before you drew this line. Express appreciation for your husband and just let her sit with it. To be honest, I'd be wondering about past interactions with her. She seems to almost take offense to your height somehow, and I wonder if anything has ever come up about your fit with your husband, the optics of such a statuesque person or whatnot. People are weird. Opie replies. Oh, she has always hated my height, especially the fact I'm most comfortable in 6-inch heels, a thing my husband adores. I have been best friends with her daughter since high school, so even before I was with her son I knew her. She made quite a few comments about how I should wear flats to prom to fit in better, than also about how I couldn't wear heels to her daughter's wedding. I don't know anyone who keeps mugs in a lower cabinet. And I'm 5 feet 1 inch. Opie replies. Which is exactly why it took me 5 minutes to find them, as I'd never suspected they would be there. I don't want to think it was a malicious act on her part, but why there? Do you know how my mum survives something very similar when her short but self visits my average height self and tall husband? She checks which mugs and glasses are our favorites. She then chooses her own favorites from the leftover options, and each time puts one coffee mug, one water glass and one wine glass in our bowls cupboard. Zero hassle for any of us, and saves her stretching for the drinkware, as it's on the top shelf. Not the a-hole, and anyone who's still crying over a reasonable reprimand is a drama queen who can be ignored until they calm themselves down. Not the a-hole. The house belongs to you and your husband, so stuff should be arranged however the two of you agree it should be arranged, and mother-in-law needs to be grateful she has family with the capacity to take her in during her roof repairs. Since your main concern is how this is affecting your husband, maybe the two of you should have a date night or something and get away from his mom for a few hours. Opie replies. Honestly, a date night isn't a bad idea at all. We've not seen Wicked yet as we've been too busy, so that might be a good idea for tonight. Not the a-hole. I'm 5 feet 7 inches. I can access 80% of my kitchen storage just fine, and yeah, I use a step stool for the rest. If she wants one mug kept lower, I presume that would be fine, no need to rearrange the whole cupboard. Opie replies. Absolutely, if she wanted her own mug etc. left lower, I'd have understood that and not protested it, that's normal after all. So long as it's put away where our cat can't knock and not left out on the counter, that's fine. But every mug. Next story. Am I the a-hole for beating my GFS brother at a game when I would normally let him win, to prove a point? When I would visit my GFS house, I would sometimes play games with her little brother who is 12. When I would play competitive games against him, I would normally let him win. Call of Duty etc. I was visiting again a few days ago and her little brother had 2 of his friends over and I overheard him talking about me. He was telling them how bad I was at games and it must make me mentally disabled to be so bad. He used more offensive language. He said my girlfriend must be stupid to be dating me too. I could hear his friends laughing about it. It was quite hurtful as I had tried to be friendly with him. A bit later I said to him, want to play some games buddy, and he acted polite, but I could see his friends laughing to themselves. I played Call of Duty against him and did not go easy. His friends were now laughing at him and he was on the verge of tears before he stormed off to his room. My girlfriend wasn't happy. Later in the car she accused me of deliberately making her brother cry. I told her I wasn't trying to do that, I just didn't like how he was talking about me or her. Am I the a-hole? She said he is just a kid and I should have just left it. Top comments. Not the a-hole. Your GF's brother trash talking you behind your back wasn't cool. Calling you mentally disabled wasn't cool. I know he's just a kid, but he's a jerk. He needed to be humbled. Good job, Opie. Keep smashing the little crap, lol. Not the a-hole. Children being mollycoddled is the problem here. They shouldn't be shielded from things like not winning. They need to learn how to deal with those emotions. A 12-year-old storming off to his room is a bit sad, a 25-year-old doing it is just bad. He got a bit full of himself, and he was brought down a peg or two. He will get over it, and hopefully he will learn something from it. Not the a-hole. It's a harsh world. He shouldn't be taking about anyone like that. Hope he learned a life lesson and a good reality lesson. Not the a-hole. This is why you don't let your kids or any kids win just because they're little. They'll learn. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook gluten-free or take my near-adult son out to eat? My 17-year-old son was diagnosed recently with a wheat allergy. He had been battling gut issues for a few months and we finally found that he can't have wheat. I immediately went into research mode. I read labels, learned all names for wheat, bought hundreds of dollars of food/snacks for him to try. I took him to Whole Foods and organic markets for hundreds more. I bought wheat alternative flours and began cooking gluten-free. He still had digestive issues. So back to DR. Only issue wheat. Come to find out he's spending his paycheck at school on biscuits and gluten-filled snacks. He goes to a friend's house and bam, eats McDonald's and wheat-filled junk. The doc and I warned him that this is only mild moderate, but it can get worse. He actually came home with urticaria and hives last weekend. He ate cake and pizza at a friend's. He's not 10, he's 17. I can't be with him everywhere and police every single thing he eats. He knows what wheat is and what to look for, we literally learned together. The school said they won't cut him off even with a DR note cause he's old enough to police himself. They provide alternatives but he won't eat them. He's stubborn. Tonight we went out to a gluten-friendly restaurant and I got him a gluten-free meal, $26, ours average 15 to 18. I made sure he was good with the selection. He didn't eat it but instead snuck off others' plates and snuck bread. My mother-in-law is an enabler, just a bit won't bother him. 10 bites later, he stunk up the car on the way home and tried to deny that he ate West, but the guy won't lie. He is wanting to stay home due to gut pain, but I'm getting peeved cause he's causing it. Am I an awful mom that if he's going to eat what he wants that I am just over making the effort and spending way extra money when he's not even following the diet? I have been begging, trying and cooking girlfriend for over 9 months and have spent thousands trying to find what even I feel taste pretty good alternative. I don't want to be a uncaring person but I feel like I'm wasting time and money that we don't really have when it makes no difference. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole, but have wheat-free food options at the house. That said, as a person with celiac, these are all the things that are easy to have on hand, won't break the bank, and are wheat-free. Most potato chips, not Pringles. Tortilla chips. Salsa. Cheese. Eggs. Rice. Potatoes. Veggies. Corn tortillas. Most lunch meats, boar's head and Hormel label for wheat and gluten. Progresso soups label for gluten. Yogurt. Cottage cheese. Girlfriend freezer waffles are around the same price as regular ones. They work for waffles, sandwiches and a base for individual pizzas. Rice checks all flavors. Obviously there's a lot more girlfriend/wheat-free food, but a lot of whole foods are naturally wheat-free and just keep stuff like that around. He's having trouble confronting his new, wheat-free life and is rebelling, more or less hoping that if he ignores the problem then it will go away. Teens making dangerous choices around their allergy is probably not that uncommon. In a way, it's the most dangerous part of life in which to have an allergy. If your allergy is discovered as a young child, it's just part of your normal, what you grow up with. If your allergy develops as an adult, you are mature enough to grieve your old way of life and settle into the new way. If your allergy develops as a teen, it's the time of life when you have independence without maturity and when you are rebelling against everything. I would give him some grace, in your own mind. In practice, you're mom, or dad, so you have to keep pushing. If you stop making his wheat-free meals, it just validates the idea that his allergy is not a big deal. To me, it sounds like he needs therapy, i.e. someone to guide/nudge him toward a habit of safe choices, who doesn't have that combination of love and authority that a teen has with their mom, that makes them want to push all your buttons and prove you wrong when you say they'll eventually have to behave like a responsible adult. I would also see if his allergist can talk to him and give him a more detailed explanation of why it is dangerous to do what he is doing. I'm gluten-free because I have celiac. I'm going not the a-hole. Please stop buying girlfriend alternatives and just stick with fruit, veg, protein, and rice. Your kid isn't taking this seriously and is causing him severe damage. Personally, I would take him back to the doctor for a sit-down. But, in the end you can't force him. It's really an annoying situation and you are doing a good job. I suffered for years. I just don't understand why he would like being sick. Maybe therapy. Next story. Am I the a-hole for accepting cake at my friend's birthday party? So this is a bit of a weird one. I, 41M, was at a friend's birthday party on the weekend just past. There were 9 of us at the party including the birthday boy, which is surprisingly relevant. All fake names from here on out. Amy, 30-ish F, one of the guests, baked a cake for the birthday boy. After the relevant party traditions of singing the birthday song, and the hip hip hurraying that happens after the birthday song here in Australia, I went back to talking to one of my friends when Amy came up to me and the other friend with 2 plates of cake and offered them to my friend and I. We both said yes, thanked her, and then she made a really odd face and walked away. My friend and I both said it was weird, and went back to chatting. I ate some of the cake and it had desiccated coconut inside it, which I don't particularly like, so after a couple of bites, I ignored it and then chucked it out when the party ended about an hour or so later. About 45 minutes ago, Steven, 30-ish Amy's partner, sent me a series of angry texts. 8 a.m. on a Monday morning is really not the best time to receive angry texts, saying how Amy spent last night crying about how she didn't get to eat any of her cake and that I took a slice of it only to throw it away and deprive her of her own cake, and that she only cut 8 slices since she knows I don't like coconut, but I took her slice and threw it away to spite her. I replied, why did she even offer me any cake if she knew there was coconut inside? Steven said that she did it to be polite and not leave me out, and that I was an a-hole for taking her slice and throwing it away. I forwarded the message to my other friends that were there, and most of them have left me on read so far, except one who responded with a thumbs down emoji, and another who hasn't seen it yet, as of this writing. The fact that no one's responding to me is making me worry that I might have been the a-hole here. Top comments. Not the a-hole. What a bizarre situation. You cut enough cake for everyone there, including yourself, and don't hand cake to people if you're relying on them turning it down so you can eat it yourself. You did the right thing by accepting it, it would have been more rude to decline. She seems weird as she's making this a much bigger issue than it is. OP replies. I mean, she expected me to decline, so was there just no winning here? Wait. So Steven, her partner, ate cake and didn't give her any? And then he messaged you about not liking the cake that was offered to you? Amy and Steven are perfect for each other, ha 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 ha. Not the a-hole. P.S. Coconut is delicious, you're wrong there. OP replies. I like most coconut things except desiccated coconut. I really love coconut water and the flesh of young coconut, it's really refreshing. Desiccated coconut just tastes of dust and sadness. If Amy at her age is crying all night for a piece of cake, she needs to see a psychiatrist, urgently. OP replies. Ironically, Steven is a psychiatrist. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.